We will chill all the guns of the foe and still get ready. Airborne from skies of blue. Heading the goal. We're coming. Make your jumps and take your boats today. Let's go put on your boots. Your jumping boots, your parachute. Your parachute, get all those gliders ready to attack today. Hook up or we'll be gone. Pouring our jet into the dawn. And station time to fight them all. The 82nd way.
And today on Have a Knife Day, we're back. This has just come back from Micah from Black Bear Custom Kydex. Here is his emblem he has embossed upon this leather belt loop. So we're going to go over and we're going to cut over to a video from Micah himself. And he's going to be telling us about the particulars of this sheath. So we will be right back.
Let's look at this really quick. So we got a fixed piggyback. What does that mean? It means that the two sheaths are connected and they are, for all intents and purposes, they are permanently connected. You can, of course, disassemble it, disconnect them. All you need to do to disconnect them is to take out these 3 screws and the sheaths can be separated. Now, because of what is on this, how little is on this overall, everything is ambidextrous. So you can set this up as a left-handed sheath. But yeah, fixed piggyback is what we went with here, as opposed to an invention of mine called the breakaway piggyback, which there are many different types of it, but essentially the gist is that you have a way of quickly separating the 2 sheaths without having to use any tools to do it. So in this case, yes, you'd have to take 3 screws out to separate them. Whereas with a breakaway, you'd have some way of quickly detaching them and being able to carry the small one independently immediately after doing so. So all right, we have a fixed piggyback. That was a good look at the click in on this. Now let's take a look at the retention. Very good retention. Because of the size of the handle, it is really difficult to do a draw with the thumb ramp. So Michael, I would recommend, honestly, use just kind of the tips of your fingers on the bottom of the handle. And I'm actually gripping it really low just because that's where there's contour to get the torque. So understand that when you draw this, it's not going to be the comfortable, full grip before you draw. You can kind of get your fingers in there and do it, but it's not very comfortable. So this is how I would do it, especially drawing downward. I'm just gripping index and middle finger down here at the close to the pommel, and then a thumb off that thumb push. And it's very easy to do. You just have to readjust that inch or so to get a full grip on that knife. Now up here we have the dog's head, the main event. Really nice click in. Excellent retention. You can hear how quiet that is. There's no rattle or play. And then to draw, it's very simple. All you have to do is use the thumb ramp here. What did I just do? Yes, okay. So this one is exactly the opposite. You actually want to get your index finger as far up into the choil of the sheath as possible. So get right up in there, and it's super simple. This one's very strange, and I'm not honestly sure why it works this way, but if you don't have your index finger up very high, there's a bit of resistance on that draw. Feels a little bit uncomfortable. If you do get really far up into it, it breaks free so easily. I think part of it is just having that little bit of extra stability and pressure, because perhaps if you push off here with a grip, you're technically putting an angled pressure on it as opposed to pulling straight out. So of course you can just do a kind of grip it and rip it draw, but with the carry setup on here, that's not going to make a whole lot of sense. So really, Michael, what you're going to want to do is get as deep a grip as you can with your index finger and just gently push off with your thumb. You can see how that just wants to fly right off. Very easy, nice ballistic draw, comfortable, all that good stuff. All right, so this one, grip low, thumb push. This one, grip high. Well, I guess it'd be, you know what I mean. Grip deep, and there you go. As for the carry setup on this, this is just a simple floated plate with a fixed loop on it. This is just called a drop loop, not to be confused with drop leg, which includes a thigh strap and usually an articulating dangler. The drop loop is an excellent carry option if you're looking for something that will stay pretty firm and stable It's not going to swing on you and pivot the way a dangler would. And it also gives you that kind of flexibility so that even though it's not on any kind of articulating dangler, if you do snag on something or if you sit and it whacks the chair or whatever, you're going to have a little bit of flexibility, so you're not worried about something like a stiff Kydex loop getting creased on you, which essentially renders it useless. So a stiff leather loop, I think this is a very excellent option for just a nice little hip carry on the belt. And then the final detail on here to show you is the Exotac Fire Rod XL. And actually, I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, okay. So it is the Fire Rod XL, as you're seeing it here. A typical fire rod is like 1/3 this size. Typical ones have a rod on the end that's maybe 80% as long as this one, but it's only a 3/16 inch diameter, whereas this is a full 1/2 inch rod. Personally, I prefer using the 1/2 inch rods for striking because they just throw so much more in terms of sparks and heat. So I've found in my personal use, even with Exotac, which is an excellent company, makes excellent products, I prefer using a 1/2 inch rod over using the smaller ones. And up until seeing this, I didn't know that Exotac even produced the 1/2 inch rod. So I'm very, very pleased to see that this is in their lineup now. Definitely search around. There should be a lot of different ways to purchase this. Exotac is all over the internet now. Great company, great products. I highly recommend them. All right, so this is in just a simple holder like so. Now it comes with this nice paracord system here. You could use that to retain your rod, but I'm also throwing on some shock cord with a little double overhand knot here so that you can just stretch that over the end and retain that rod. The holder is actually fairly loose on it, so you do require this shock cord to retain the rod, especially as you use it and whittle it down. The holder becomes essentially very loose, and you need some kind of pressure to keep it into the holder so it doesn't just fall out on you. So that's pretty much it. One other quick detail, both of these sheaths, you probably already noticed, are clad with leather. Everything is black, obviously, and I use a special process to bond the leather to the Kydex, and then I did all the finish work and all that done to it. So you get the same kind of satin finish, seamless edges that you would get if it were just Kydex, but you also get the added benefit of the aesthetic and the comfort of leather bonded over the top of it. Really, really happy with how this came out. But I'd love your opinions down below as well. Let me know what you think of KABAR in general. Let me know what you think of these two specific knives if you had a chance to use them. And in fact, if you've got a pretty good level of experience with different KABAR models, let me know how you feel that the Dog's Head stacks up against, say, the USMC or the US Army, which are, I would argue, the two most popular knives, period, in this sort of stacked leather combat knife format. And then let me know how you think the BK11 stacks up against something like the SE/KABAR S-KABAR, or something very similar like the S.
So here we are back at the Have a Knife Day table, and I couldn't be happier with this. And I own several knives that have been resheathed by Black Bear Custom Kydex, and most of them are leather clad. I do have one that's not, the exception and not the rule, of course. And fantastic job. So if you want to thank a veteran for their service, get a knife project done by Black Bear Custom Kydex, because Micah is a veteran. With that being said, we're going to be talking about the Becker Necker and the Fire Rod XL. We're not going to be talking about the Dog's Head utility knife because I covered that in video number 1, links in the descriptions. So let's talk about the Becker Necker. Take a look at this. Now, why this size? Because I didn't want something that would, overly dominate as a piggyback. This was small, it got the job done. You don't have to get it with the canvas Micarta handles on it. You can just go straight skeletonized. It all depends on what you want to do. If I was going to skin anything, I'd probably take this off. That's just me. And let's take a look at that right there. So let's go over the Becker Necker. A useful knife always at hand. The wide drop point blade is perfect for skinning whittling, slicing onions, and whatever comes up around the campfire. A high grind and thick spine give great slicing ability with plenty of backbone for cutting chores. This model is constructed from 1095 Crovan carbon steel, which gives you a knife that is easy to sharpen and still holds a good edge. It is a low alloy carbon steel, but with chrome and vanadium carbides to provide extra strength and wear resistance. The Kydex sheath can be strung to carry handle up or down. The notch at the rear of the handle is both a wire fence breaker and a bottle opener. The green canvas micarta handle slabs are available, but they are sold separately, like I said before. I like it because, I mean, if this got wet, this canvas micarta is going to be super grippy. And I really appreciate that. The blade length is 3.25. It is coated at that black epoxy. Overall length is 6.875 inches. Blade steel, 1095 Crovan carbon steel, 2.50 ounces, and is proudly made in the USA. So now let's go over the fire rod. So now let's go ahead and deploy the Fire Rod XL from its rig. Now this came, of course, with some paracord. It was too much. I'm just going to go with the shock cord. It's easy to do. It actually aids with the retention of it to the sheath, so I got rid of the other thing. Now the interesting thing about this is it is threaded, so if you ever use this up or it breaks, what have you, you can always get a replacement and reuse the handle. Now this is designed for bushcrafting. The Fire Rod XL is designed to cover several bushcrafting tasks. Now, use the spine of your knife to strike the Fire Rod XL. Many bushcrafting knives do not round over the edges of the spine, leaving them sharp for use as a striking tool. Now, the fun thing about this is inside of this handle, there is Tinder storage. So there you go. Remove the top of the cap to reveal a large compartment that holds 4 quick light tabs included, or Tinder of your choice. And there is a rubber seal right here to make it watertight. And there you go, just that easy. Now we're gonna go over to this. This comes with a length of heavy-duty repair tape. The approximate 12 inches of repair tape can be used for patching holes or as an improvised bandage, creating bushcrafting tools, or even as tinder, because yes, it is flammable. Now the half-inch I'm gonna have to say this, ferrocrim, oh well, somebody will tell me how to say it in the comments. The rod included is not only waterproof but replaceable as well. Simply unthread it from the body of the Fire Rod XL and thread in a replacement rod. The anodized aluminium body, the Fire Rod XL, is CNC machined and housed from USA high-grade 6061 aluminum, then anodized for protection in one of 4 signature Exotac colors. And I really like it. I have a lot of the smaller ones. I saw this, I said, it's time to go big or go home, or go big in my home. That's right. That's what she said. So that is the other part of my rig. Now, am I done? Am I done? No, I'm not. Because I'm going to send this out to Mr. Tom Veff. I'm going to get a single Veff notch added to this part of the blade, just to make it easy to pop paracord or what have you. And I am going to be sending it out with another KABAR. Now this is my KABAR fighting knife, and this one has a synthetic handle. I'm going to send it out also to get a notch. So there you go. The story continues. So this is going to go into a box over to Oregon City, Oregon, to our good friend, Mr. Tom Veff, to get him of his patented Veff serrations. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I greatly appreciate it. Please do subscribe. I'm getting close to 1,000 subscribers. Yeah. And it's what a fun thing to do, to share my knives with you. and maybe give you some ideas of your own. Thank you so much, and as always, have a knife day.